Tim Webber, it's great to have an Oscar winner on the show today, so thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure.
You're a visual effects supervisor, chief creative officer at Framestore, which people will remember from Harry Potter, Gravity, of course, the Avatar films. You've been behind a huge number of blockbusters over the years. So let's start big. What has the generative AI boom done for the visual effects industry?
I think the first thing it did is worry a lot of people initially, because everyone looked at it and it could do such amazing things that were so impressive in short clips, in demos, that we all thought, it's, our jobs are going. But quite quickly, we looked at it and realized there were lots and lots of limitations, and it wasn't going to totally revolutionize the world immediately, but it is still going to have a big evolutionary effect, almost revolutionary effect, I'd say. It has a lot of potential in a lot of different areas, and when it does apply to a certain process, it makes a big change. It typically can speed certain things up by factors of 1,000.
Yeah. So what are some examples of things that we might have seen on screen that has used some of the more advanced AI tools?
There's the obvious stuff where faces have been replaced with someone else. A stuntman has an actor's face put on them, using the deep face technology that we're all quite familiar with. But it is used, we developed a piece of AI technology that enabled us to, when we build a virtual creature or a virtual human being, we build them from the inside out. We build skeletons and then muscles and then skin, and the animator will move the skeleton and the computer will work out how the muscles move and how the skin slides on top of that and how the light reacts to it. Now, the process of doing that could take sort of 40 seconds. You make one move of the skeleton and it could take 40 seconds to update all of that. But we were able to accelerate that process to make it almost immediate. And what that meant was an animator could move a character in some way, and they could see a genuine representative of how it was going to look in the final image, because all of the subtle details would change too.
Where does AI play a more intensive role, and where does it have more of a potential to kind of take off some of the more labor-intensive tasks?
Where it is taking off now, I would say, is in the early stages of working out. At the very beginning of a project, for example, we do concept design and we draw up how the director wants it to look. Now, tools like Midjourney can create images very, very quickly from scratch. But even there, they're not good enough to create our final image, but good enough for people to go, I like that bit and I don't like that bit, or I want it a little bit like this.
The initial inspiration.
The initial inspiration, yeah.
Thought provocation.
Thought provocation, yeah. We used to do it by searching the internet for existing images, and it was hard to find something even close. So AI in that space gets us quite a bit closer, but still a long way from what the concept artists can do when they can juggle something into exactly what the director is after.
Hollywood actors and writers have been in tense negotiations with studios, and artificial intelligence has emerged as a key point of contention, specifically because they're afraid that their work, their image and likeness might be used to eventually put them out of work. Does a similar threat or concern exist among visual effects artists?
I think it will, there's a lot of people in our industry worried that they're going to be out of a job, and I think the job market will change, but it won't put people out of a job. And I personally, I believe the same is true in writing and acting. I think it changes the way things are done a little bit, but you can't currently. The more I look into it, the less I worry that it is going to replace us. It so still needs the human input.
One of the things that I always think back at when I think of examples of amazing technological moments in film is Toy Story, back in 1996. Is there a feeling that we're at a similar point now, or is the hype kind of getting away from us?
Well, I think it'll be interesting. One of the amazing things about Toy Story is they took technology that was still quite nascent and they created a new form of films, computer animated movies. At the moment, there is no Toy Story equivalent for AI. And I think it might take a while, and it may never happen, because one of the things about AI is it is used, as I've sort of described, in a number of different areas to help speed up little bits here and there. It's not like a whole new way. I mean, if we get generative video where you can do voice prompts and you can control the video and it will look sufficiently good quality, possibly there may be something new out of that, but I think that's a long way away.
In the case of visual effects, will it always kind of require this additional layer of technical expertise?
I think, and I'm talking about visual effects at the high end, what you know, where we work is right at the high end. I don't see that can happen at the high end. You know, you want to be led by a master storyteller, by a Steven Spielberg, you know, and it takes them years and teams of experts to help them craft their movie. The movie that will be crafted out of AI, and you know, look at what ChatGPT creates. It assembles all the words from the internet and spews out something that is plausible and is often useful and often correct, but not always correct, but is often very useful. But for it to, you know, that is different to being a perfectly crafted, original piece.
Using your imagination a bit, what are you most excited about when it comes to artificial intelligence and its potential to transform VFX?
I think there's a number of things to be excited about, but one of the big ones to me is how it can bring VFX to wider areas. You know, it can, because you can render very quickly, it could allow us to create what I'm going to call a volumetric movie. So, you know, say you're watching a movie, but one where it's like a 3D movie, but it's more genuinely 3D. It can encompass you, and you know, as you move your head, there's three-dimensionality to it. It's not just stereoscopic vision. So that would be a whole new way of showing movies. It would be all the more powerful.
Like, as an Oscar winner, someone who's received an Academy Award, do you think there's a future where an artificial intelligence and I'll say itself, could be worthy of winning the award rather than a human being?
I mean, I think there's significantly far into the future, there is all sorts of possibilities. You know, and if we get to the point where an artificial intelligence could be winning the Oscar, we're also at the point where an artificial intelligence could be the Prime Minister or the President or doing all sorts of other things. At which point, I think we'll have an awful lot to worry about, and it may be great, but there'll be a lot to worry about.
Tim, thank you so much for joining us.
A pleasure.